So this whole shopping center is freaking gigantic. But we are here at Wild Birds Unlimited for a bird presentation. And apparently they're giving out ice cream. It's like this is a whole bird store. What is this? These are candles. Bird seed. Bird feeders. Bird feeders. More bird seed. Little birdie things. Those are all knickknacks too. T-shirts, buttons. Looks like stones, wind chimes. Kevin, this is poop. You want poop?
No.
Why not? Look how big these wind chimes are. These birdhouses. Look how big these wind chimes are. Yeah, they're gigantic. As big as me. Bird hats. More birdhouses back there. Look at the bird tower. That's cool. Could you imagine having that in Grandma's backyard? Grandma Val, as much as she has all those bird feeders and stuff. That's awesome. Oh look! At the little rock turtles. Those are freaking adorable.
Get one of them
and put it at the bottom of the baby turtle tank and see if they try to attack it.
They won't know what type of turtle it is.
What is it? Did you see the rock turtles? What are these? Click boxes?
Clickety.
Clickety click boxes. Candy or gift packaging. Oh, it's just like a reusable container. Very cool. That's a pretty cool spinner. Woodpecker. Look, hot pepper.
They do make spicy food.
Oh. Could you imagine the spicy food reaction that they had? That's like people going to Taco Bell and then having to sit in the bathroom. Look, you can force them to eat a squirrel alive. That's not cannibalistic.
No.
My stepmom had one of these, and every time it chimed, it did like the sound of the bird.
Nanny has it.
Nanny has one too?
In the kitchen.
I think my stepmom had one of those.
Yeah, it always makes the sound of bird.
I like the fish. You see the koi fish? Nightlight.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really pretty. This is cool yard stuff. I like it. It's fascinating. Yep. These are puzzles. Oh, they're puzzles. I like that on the bridge. I like the little rock turtles over here. I like that. Like how the shell is like more curved than the others.
Like separate cups.
Separate.
I've almost no one wants
Look how
to
big
share
that birdhouse is.
I like this one.
You like that one? I think we should get one and put it in the baby turtle's tank. I really do.
We'll just put it outside of it and stare at it for a minute.
Does it say bark side? Does it?
Yes.
Oh my god. Come to the bark side. It's a dog. I still like the kitty cat shirt in the front too.
Yeah. $20. It's heavy.
for that size.
It's a rock.
It's a rock.
Would you expect it to be like?
I like the bird towers so much. They're so cool. Look, that's a bird condo. Alright. Lick. That's the bird tower. Because it's got such a long... It's the bird lighthouse.
You said 2 chocolates. All right.
Now the presentation, is it okay to video and take pictures?
That's fine, absolutely.
Because we do a vlog on YouTube and we would love to show off everything.
Please do. If you can just credit the store so people know
Always.
where the event was. We appreciate the exposure.
We do it even with our, we rescue reptiles and stuff like that, so we credit anybody that we get them from and do their whole backstories and stuff like that.
Talking with some of the rehabbers who come in, they might be good people.
I love rehabilitation work, yeah.
All right, so we got a chocolate.
Chocolate for you, Zane Zane.
And a vanilla. All right.
Complete polar opposites. I don't know.
It's a matter of time. We get something vanilla, so. I always get nervous. We seem to get a run on one or the other and then start to wonder.
The squirrel ride, you know?
So they're setting up a lot of people. I want to see this Viking thing.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Oh, there it is. Look at the Viking ship. That's cool.
Isn't that amazing? So, one of my oddball things that actually worked.
Yeah, we don't.
And the bottom's like a sea monster kind of thing.
This is that awesome. You think so? Now, they are not cheap, but they are beautiful. So they retail for about $120.
Ooh,
So,
yeah, Michael's not getting one.
But
That is just
if you can actually see the
Unless the
little
pig is way
Vikings,
cheaper.
they are pretty darn
Dragon's
cool.
head.
So that is the Viking ship that was.
You're welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, right back.
You finished your second bowl?
With this, I thought was really fun. Wildlife. And actually, I'm just going to introduce Colleen because she is going to be able to tell you much more than I could. So, hey, everyone give a round of applause for Colleen.
We're going to be here for 2 hours, so we're going to go through it, and then we'll hang around and talk to you, or if you didn't get the picture that you wanted, we'll showcase that. And the little birds, we'll kind of mingle around, so even if you're in the back, if you stay, you will get to see everything as much as you want to see it. You can take pictures, and you can use a flash. These animals that we have, Virginia laws are really strict, and it's a good thing. And if you break the law, you are going to get in trouble. So, I might have a lot of things at my house, birds, reptiles, mammals. I cannot bring anything out in public unless it is on a special permit, an exhibitor permit from DGIF. So you will never get to see animals that we are working on. Because they're wild and they need to stay wild. These animals, for one reason or another, will tell you what happened, their story. They are never going back out in the wild. So they are used to going to daycare and different groups with lots of little trips. So they're used to noise and used to people and cameras. So that's their life. And they don't love me. All these animals live with me except the possum, but they don't love me. They are used to routine. Routine is the deal. And they know things. Each has their own personality. What they like, what they expect, and what they don't like. So I had to go out in pens in my backyard this morning and catch all these animals, put the equipment on them. And it's the same equipment a falconer would use. You have an anklet that goes on them. It has a grommet in it. Then you have a jest, which is like about this long, that goes through that hole. Then you put a swivel on it so they don't get caught up and tied up in their rope. And so then the swivel goes on, and then you have a leash. So all that has to be put on them before I bring them out, and then when I go home, all that comes off of them. But as we do this, it's real informal. If you have a question, let's just ask it at that point, because we won't get around to it later on. So what do you want to see first, big or little? Okay, we're doing little. And if you wait until we're kind of like finished the talking, we're going to sit the kestrel here and move out the way so you can get a picture of the kestrel with the pretty background without us in it if you
His
want.
head's blue.
Wow, what a great job. Look at this. What do you think, girl? So, this is a little kestrel, and a little kestrel is kind of a subgroup of falcons. And the falcons are distinguished from other hawks by the way they hunt. They can actually kind of hover in the air and then look for their prey and go after their prey. So that is how the falcons are distinguished. They did some DNA studying recently and really determined that the kestrel, the American kestrel, is not a true kestrel as much as it is more like some of the smaller hawks, like the peregrine falcon, not like the peregrine falcon, actually, is what I mean to say. But they haven't changed its designation yet. They're still notifying it as the American kestrel. So this small little falcon is quite the hunter and quite common, actually, although their numbers are declining. They have been looking at them since about 1966, and they've had a 1.3 decline every year, so that cumulatively since 1966, they think the populations are down 50% for this little girl. Now this is a girl, just like most hawks. The females are larger, but in the case of the kestrel, you can distinguish by its plumage. The female has barred, rusty coloring all over her wings, where the male has slate blue, slate gray wings, and you can distinguish by that. You might notice also that the kestrels have these dark stripes here on their face, two beautiful dark stripes. Well, it's thought that helps them, just like football players putting black under their eyes. It helps to decrease glare, and it helps them in their hunting. You want to talk a little bit about how you got this girl, Colleen?
Yeah. Bring her down closer. Bring her down.
She likes that better.
Every bird has their different things. She is 5 years old.
Wow.
She has not started laying eggs yet, but I had one some years ago, and at age 5, she started laying eggs. When they lay the eggs, it's really scary for me. These are her eggs.
Oh, wow.
When she first starts laying them, they're real colorful. They have a lot of brown in them. Then she'll lay one like every 4 days or however often, and towards the end, it's less and less color. So like the very last one she lays is white. But you can see, just like with chickens, you see how big this egg is. It scares me to death that she's going to get egg bound and not be able to lay it. And so I look for her probably in March to start laying. And I've done it before where I left the eggs in and she still lays more. I've taken the eggs out and she still lays. So I mean, she's going to go through her little cycle, whatever it is. But she does a lot of mating ritual in that she'll pull a newspaper and kind of make a nest, and she lifts her tail up in the air, and there is a whole behavior while this is going on. Now, if you've ever done chickens or other birds, I've done bobwhite quail. I've had them get egg bound before, and they'll be laying down like they're dead. I mean, just laying down and the legs straight out. But I recognize it, and so what I do is I just get some Wesson oil, mineral oil, put it in a syringe, and just squirt it in the anus area, 10 or 15 minutes, they've laid the egg up walking around like nothing is wrong. And so it's just making that egg come out. Now, she doesn't have a pretty voice, but she's smart. She's probably the smartest bird I have here today. When I drive up, my car has a certain sound in the engine because it's old. When my car drives up, she's in the house and she will hear my car drive up and start vocalizing. It's like, hey, I'm back here, don't get me, it's time to eat. She has a big cage that's about this big and about this tall, and it has different perches, and she needs stimulation. You don't want to just have something and leave it in a cage, and that's what it's like. So in her room, she has a lizard that she gets to look at, and she has a fish tank with a turtle in it, a water turtle. So she has things to look at to keep her entertained. She has never eaten anything alive and never caught anything alive. When we got her, she was a baby and still had baby feathers on top of her head. But her problem was her beak would split. And it's just like the fingernail if it splits. Some people have fingernails that do that. And her top beak would split and be jutting out. So I would take her to the vet over and over, and they'd shave it down. And eventually they got where you can do this yourself and showed me how to do it. So for like the first 3 years, I would have to do that every couple of months. I have not had to do that any now. So maybe her genetics, maybe that's gone, but she knows nothing about being wild. She eats dead mice that are unfrozen and put it in her cage. She likes to take a bath, just like a blue jay or any other bird. She has a Pyrex dish about this big around, about this deep. She gets in there and flutters and takes a bath. Any other bird, when she comes out, she looks like a drowned rat. Now, because she was coming today, and I don't take her a lot. I don't take her to like a preschool because they don't understand the importance. They just want bigger. So they'd rather see a big hawk than this. But y'all are bird people and you know the importance of this bird. So I did give her a bath in the sink last night and she likes that. So she's super clean today. What else?
I was gonna say, I'll tell them a couple more interesting facts if you can get their next.
Well, I want to see if we can do the hula hoop with her. When this bird is flying and up over a field, in fact, I'm from Chesterfield, we saw 2 of them on Route 5 coming down. When they're up on the telephone line and they're looking over a field and say they get up here and they see something they want, so they're flying, they can stay in place and their head has got to be fixed on what they're looking like. But the wind is moving their body all like this. So she can do that, and if she's real relaxed, not like this, back and forth like this. Let her get her wings down. All right. Slower. Come on, pull it back. Just a little, just like this, just a little bit. And what you want to do is see, yeah, it's like the body is just disjointed from the head. All right, let's see. So that's a good thing. Not only do we decide, we have to take paperwork to the vet that we work with, and the vet has to sign off that she agrees with us. And so then that paperwork goes to the federal government. They want a copy of the cage that she's going to live in. They want a copy of the cage she's going to live in. They want me to write down what I'm going to talk about, my experience, and so you send all that to the federal government, and it might be 3 months before you get it back, or it might be 6 weeks. So you're hoping, like, gosh, I hope this bird lives long enough for me to even use it for a program. But so the federal government signs off on it, and then it also goes to a state permit to go on your exhibitor permit. So I have like 6 different permits.
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
Oh, that one.
Look at that crest being risen right now. Do you see that? Bit upset.
Oh, it'll come down in a few minutes.
Yeah, I think there's another animal back there that's been disturbing. Red-shouldered hawk, one of our most prevalent hawks, and easily identified by their call, and they love to hawk. They will just all afternoon long. They love to live in deciduous woods that are near lowland or swampland or creeks because they love to hunt for the frogs and the lizards and the mice that they can find down there. It's okay. He's a little bit upset today, but he's good. So his name will come to us what his name is. But he was hit by a car. Zoe, this is Zoe, and she was hit by a car, and she is blind in one eye. The eye closest to me, you can tell the difference if she turns around and shows you. Let's see if I can get this. So hawks are very dependent on their vision for their hunting. So they cannot be released if they are blind in one eye or have vision problems. Yes, I know. So she's called a red-shouldered hawk because her feathers up over her wrist, actually her wrists, are kind of rusty red. So it makes her look like she has red shoulders. Red-shouldered hawk. And you can see that she has this beautiful barring red color here. She hunts mostly small mammals and frogs and lizards. She lives in the same territory as the barred owl. They share that same niche, I guess you would say. They like to hunt for the same things, but she's hunting during the day and the owl is, of course, hunting at night.
Do you know the niche is a specific habitat for an animal?
She would take a squirrel. What probably isn't their primary meal, voles and mice and, possibly little flying squirrels, but she would take a squirrel, and she would hunt a squirrel's nest to get young squirrels out of it. She'll also eat small birds sometimes and eggs. They like to build their nests kind of up in the leafy canopy, pretty high up, but not at the top of trees, in kind of a crux of a branch. And they're made with sticks, and they reuse that nest over and over again and add to it and clean it up. They mate for life unless one of the pair has gone missing, and then they will find a new mate.
Afterwards, because these animals will be here for you to see after the talk.
You're right. If you're far off and can't
Look
get
at
the
that,
picture you
Zane.
want, after we go through everything, come up and let us know. We'll make sure you get the picture you want.
So I can't tell you how many times I've been asked, is that a baby owl? And are those the owl's ears sticking up there? Well, this is a full-grown screech owl. I think Colleen's had her about 10 years, and she was an adult when Colleen got her. So we don't really know how old she is. And those are not her ears, but just little tufts of feathers that generally show some anxiety or want to make her look bigger and a little more aggressive. And they do put them down when they're very calm. So this is the eastern screech owl. It is a year-round resident in Virginia. We have 4 breeding owls in Virginia. We have the screech owl, the barred owl, the great horned owl, and do you know what the other one is? Barn owl? The barn owl, yes. We have other owls that visit, but those 4 are breeding owls in Virginia. The eastern screech owl has gotten a little niche where it will live very comfortably in urban and suburban areas. It tries kind of to stay away from the deep forests because that's where the great horned owl lives, and the great horned owl definitely will go after a screech owl. In fact, where I did live in Williamsburg, I had a screech owl living behind me, and a great horned owl moved in, and the screech owl moved out. I never saw it. So the eastern screech owl comes in 2 color morphs. It comes in this pretty rusty color, and it also comes like gray, and it's near, what's that called? Camouflage. Camouflage, right, exactly, camouflage. So Zoe also has a vision problem in one eye. Now, owls can be released if they have a vision problem in just one eye. She had some other problems too, but owls use their hearing a lot more for hunting, so they can be released if they have no other problems and just one eye is affected. Their ears are on the side of their head, not up here, and they are not straight across from each other like ours are, but they're kind of like this. And it gives them a better feel for depth and where the sound is coming from. And they can hear small little mice walking under leaves from great distances. And speaking about distances, did we get the answer to the distance on the
We got a half answer. So for the red-shouldered hawk, they, it all said they have really sharp eyesight, but none of them have actually tested that. However, they do know how fast they can hunt. They can go up to 35 miles per hour to catch one of those mice. So even if they just get a glimpse, they're already there speed-wise. So definitely efficient hunters.
That's cool.
Keep an ear out in your yards because owls are headed into breeding season. So you'll start hearing a lot more in your backyards.
Yeah, we'll talk about that's true. We'll talk with when you see the barred owl, boy, they make a ruckus. The screech owl is very recognizable by their sound, as all the owls. But you probably, if you learn the sounds of the birds, you're going to hear them easier than you're going to see them. And the screech owl was named for a screeching sound it makes, but it's not its primary sound. It kind of whinnies, almost like a horse.
However, a word of caution for this, because I have done that before, because I live here in Williamsburg, and we've had screech owls around, and we don't always want to see them. So when you play the sound, they will swoop near the sound. And yes, they are little, you will think a bat is attacking you, but it is a screech owl following the sound. So if you would like to see them close, you can play the sound and they will react to it. Just duck a little bit.
Very good, very good. And they also make a sound that I hear quite frequently. You would never think it's an owl. And it's just a trill sound. They kind of, I can't even make it very well, but it's just a very soft trill. So it's worth it to pick up your smartphone and listen to the sound, and then test yourself at night and see if you happen to have a screech owl.
It's Richmond A.W.A.R.E. This is a non-profit organization. There are food donation suggestions up on that front round table. Thank you.
So like if you want to buy something and then donate it to us, we have a couple of divas with us today too. This is one of the divas. Do you know what this is? It's an olive.
How did y'all know to be?
Did you hear him quacking? The other
Quack,
diva
quack, 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 quack.
Yes.
Quack, quack.
And I recognize the green ring.
Oh, he gonna bite you? Yep, that's a boy.
That's the woodpecker. I can't believe it.
It's a woodpecker. He's gonna bite you.
Maybe I'll let you talk. Okay, this is a mallard duck. There are several different kinds of ducks. In fact, I've had ducks up 2 years. We keep the name simple. Kids love this thing. When I first got him, I thought, well, you know, he's not going to be good for programs. I mean, because I don't take him out. He is so powerful. If he gets away from me or if he smacks me in the face with his wings, it really hurts. His story is a girl found him on Brown's Island on the James River when he was a cute little duckling about this big that is just to die for. They're so cute. And he'd been separated from his parents. So she took him to her apartment and she loved him and fed him and he slept in the bed with her. And
Oh, Lord.
And then she decided he poops too much all over her floor, all over everything all day long, and he bites. And she didn't want him anymore. And so we took him and tried to put him with some other ducks, and he is petrified of another duck. And even now, when I raise baby mallards, and you know, they're about this tall, if I put them in the same container, he runs and gets in his carrier. He wants no parts of them. They're interested in him, but he thinks he's a human. So it's gone past being tame, it's imprinted. So we're crazy about him, and he just finished molting, so he probably looks.
I'm gonna do like a round robin of everybody.
Now, when you see your grandmother or your friend, you might go up to them and hug them, or you might shake hands, and that's how you say hello.
Whole
right?
stores.
Not full. When he says hello, he bites you. He bites another duck. That's how they communicate. So.
Oh.
So instead of my hand, he goes through a paper towel roller about once a day. Now, the biggest thing with keeping him healthy is clean water. He has got to have clean water to get in and drink and all. Because he uses the bathroom in it, and after he uses the bathroom a couple of times, he doesn't want to get in it. And so clean water is really important. In fact, he's been in the bathtub already this morning, so this is going to be a long day for him. So he's already been in the bathroom. His feet, that's the main thing. I'm looking at his feet every week and looking to see if it looks good. This is a duck that is hunted. We came across the James River on Route 5 coming here, and there's duck hunters out there, and it drives me crazy. But anyway, duck hunting is over the end of January, so that's good news. Now, I am getting a duck Monday from the Wildlife Center of Virginia. They called me, and they have a female mallard duck, and it's ready for release. It's been on medication. But they would like it to be released in a soft release, is what you call it. Somebody who's going to feed it, somewhere it's going to be kind of looked after in case it needs any help. Because they've gone to all this trouble to make it healthy. So I asked myself, well, what was its injury? And it's a lot of medical things I don't understand, but it had a problem with its GI tract. It had bumblefoot. And the big thing is, it had lead. You don't think of a duck getting lead, but eagles, vultures, and waterfowl get a lot of lead because this duck is in a pond and he's going under all over the bottom, and all these bullet cases that have been shot, they just accumulate and accumulate. And to get rid of it is an easy thing, but you have to have the machine. So they have this machine, and they can gauge it to see where it is. Like if it's a 3, that's not too bad. If it's a 5, that's real bad. It needs this medication. So they give it a medication through the mouth, give it orally. It goes into the stomach, and then it's like all this lid is like a magnet. It all sticks to it. And then all we do is use the bathroom and it comes out. So no operation, it's an easy fix. But probably this thing diagnosed what the level is, that's probably really expensive. And none of our vets down here have one because they're dealing with dogs and cats. They're not dealing with something that might have lead. But lead is a really big issue. You know, eagles and vultures, they're eating these deer carcasses on the road, and it's just full of lead. So anyway, this duck that I'm getting, they said it was a female, and they said that they believe it was mated between a mallard duck and a black duck. And those two are doing a lot of mating. Maybe in years to come it will just incorporate into one kind of duck. But across the street from me, we have a reservoir, and we have some people, and they see things. So we're going to do a release, watching the weather next week, you know, maybe what's going to be 50 a couple of days in a row. So anyway, I'm supposed to get that Monday. So that'll be coming. All right, Duck has another trick. Now, when you drink water, do you slurp it or do you have good manners? You don't slurp it, do you? Make a big mess? You probably get
I
that to your room. Well, we're gonna see how Duck Duck drinks. And he knows what's gonna happen. Look at his behavior. He is already ready for that. So, would you like some water? Alright, see his tail wagging like a little dog, so he drinks his water. When he's happy, his little tail wags. Drink some more. But that's not what he wants. He wants the mealworms, okay? So you can buy mealworms alive, or you can buy mealworms freeze-dried. So these are what you feed your bluebirds. I'm sure they sell them here.
Oh, yes, we sell a lot of
Anyway,
them.
it is a treat with him. So you have to look fast, because I mean, he goes through them fast. And the reason he eats so fast, you think if he was in a pond and these are floats, if he doesn't hurry up and get it, something else will, or it'll escape. So he eats fast. But watch what he does. He swirls the water around like a tornado. So the water's going to swirl around, and he's really messy. Aren't you? There it is. Right.
Because all the things go towards him in the circle, and just go
That's right. He's not drinking the water. All right, let's see him do it again. You want some more? Want some more? All right, all right.
Bye, Duck Duck. Quack, quack. See, Zane saying they took your idea. Duck, duck, quack, quack. Whoa, that's a big bird. Yeah?
This is Hershey. Hershey is a barred, B-A-R-R-E-D, barred owl, not a barn owl, but a barred owl. Doesn't Hershey have a beautiful face? And Hershey was named by some children because, and he looks like a Hershey kiss. So they named Hershey. So the barred owl is probably our most prevalent owl. And we were talking about the mating season coming up, and it is soon mating season for the barred owls. And where's Denise? Where's my neighbor Denise? Are you still here? She might have had to go. But she and I lived together in lived next door to each other in Colonial Heritage, and we had barred owls behind us in the wetland, and they would put on a hoot nanny back there, and they would just cackle and sound like a bunch of witches back there getting together, or monkeys or something. But their typical call is one that a lot of people describe as who cooks for you? Who cooks? Who cooks? Who? Right? He says I didn't do it very well. But they also love those swamplands, and they, like I said, share the same territory as the red-shouldered hawk. And they like to eat those mammals and small lizards and frogs, although they're a pretty big bird, and they could definitely eat something bigger. They definitely eat squirrels. They could even come and get our chickens, right? Yeah, come and get our chickens, as could the red-shouldered hawk. It wouldn't be their first choice, because the chicken could put up a fight, but if they're hungry enough, they would swoop down.
What about a cat?
Well, again, it would be rare that they would come and get a cat. They might
to
be
be
a
small
small
one,
cat or
yeah.
an injured cat, but a cat would be way too aggressive, and they don't want to get hurt. So they're going to avoid getting hurt. So they'll avoid the cats unless they're a small little kitten or an injured cat, and they're very desperate. So I never worry. I have cats, and I never worry about the hawks or the owls getting them, because those hawks and owls don't want to be hurt. Okay, so again, you can tell the female is bigger. That's really the only way you can tell them apart. So it's kind of hard when you only have one to look at.
Let's go in the bathroom.
They are year-round residents. They will build in man-made boxes. I don't know if they have any here in this store, but I'm sure they could order them if not. My husband and I have actually built one and put it up. They also, like most owls, when they eat their prey, say they eat a mouse, they'll digest all the digestible material, and then later they'll hack up almost like a cat's fur ball. They'll hack up the bones and they'll spit them out, and they are called owl pellets. And here are some examples of owl pellets you can see. And I know that some of the school children sometimes
That looks like what our snakes do.
From a
With
supplier,
the rat
and
bones
they'll
are all
actually
clumped
kind of
together.
dissect to see what did the owl eat. So finding an owl pellet is a good way to know there are owls present. You might want to look up and see if you see a nest up there in the tree. So Hershey was hit by farm equipment, like a thresher, some kind of large farm equipment, but the person driving the equipment saw the owl flush up and stopped and rescued him, but his wing was severely broken, and so he can fly only very short distance, more kind of like hop flying, and so of course he would not be able to catch his prey, so he's become an ambassador education animal as well. Any questions about Hershey? Yes?
Are they only nocturnal? Because I had one in my backyard during the day a couple weeks ago.
They are considered nocturnal, but I often have seen them during the day too. I mean, they're out there, and if you're really good, you can spot them up in a tree, sometimes sitting there. They like to hunt at that dusk and dawn time frame. So, although they have very good vision and very good hearing, and they do hunt at night, they often like to hunt in the dusk and dawn.
Hershey, I am so crazy about her. She is a handful. And this is in 4 months, this is the 3rd one she's had, so I gotta think of something else.
Oh my goodness.
Suet. This is what is left of her suet season.
Oh my goodness.
So you put the suet cake down in there, but yeah, she has demolished that.
What about making it have polycarbonate?
I don't know,
Polycarbonate is real hard to acrylic.
that's what I'm thinking, get one of those real expensive ones, they sell them here, but this was just one for like $10 or $15, but, I can't deal with that.
If they can do that to that, they can tear up plastic.
Yeah, I thought y'all would appreciate seeing
Oh, they
that.
dented my mom's chimney. Because metal resounds louder. So that's how they call to mates.
Ready to go? If you've heard that thumping repeatedly.
They love your wall.
Mhm. Oh yeah, they loved my wall. I heard one this morning.
There he is. Oh, yes.
Please tell me you named him Woody.
So, this is probably a once in a lifetime thing. I got a call from the vet that I deal with, and they said they had a woodpecker for me to come pick up. It was right at 5 o'clock, so I didn't get it. So the vet took it home with her. So the next day I go get it. Well, I'm thinking it's a flicker. It's always a flicker. So I'm thinking it's something like that. So they have the box, and I opened the box, and it's affiliated. I'm like, oh my goodness. Well, a man got it off of his back deck, and he said it had hit the patio window or door or something. And so we got to looking at it, and it was a baby. It still had down on it. And we decided that it did not hit a window. Either a sibling knocked it out the nest or a parent knocked it out the nest. And a lot of times, in nature, it happens a lot with baby squirrels and different things. The parent knows there is something wrong, and they will kick it out the nest, and nature takes its course. Well, a lot of times, people or humans, we find them and save them, and it's not unusual for us to get a baby squirrel this big, and he's got the eyes closed, and we feed him, and then one day he opens up his eyes, and he's blinded, and it's a juvenile cataract. So that happens a lot. Maybe that parent kicked him out on purpose, or maybe he's the weakest one, and the siblings kicked him out because, you know, everybody wants the food. So we think that's what's happened. Had terrible time with his feet. That is cleared up now. But he is a male because of the red down here. If it was a female, it would be tan. He's outside during the day and comes in at night. He goes through a piece of wood one day. He's starting to vocalize it, but he will not eat unless I hand feed him, just about. So in the morning, he goes out and he's got food in his stomach. Go out there at 3 or 5 o'clock, no food. All this food sitting around, no food. So bring him in, feed him, full again. So we're just having a little bit of trouble with that. But let's see what he'll do. Did you want some water? I saw you go over there to the water
No attention. Like usual. No attention.
Aww.
Could I have the kiddos sit down, please?
Thank you.
This is monkey chow that I'm feeding him, and he should be good and hungry. But I started at his mouth, and then I kind of have to push it down in there. This is a live mealworm. Would you like that? Yeah. Aww. Remind me to talk to you about his tongue. Blueberry.
He's looking at it.
Next time I said the word, he was like, oh, fine, I'll eat the worm.
Today seems to be the blueberry day.
Did it work?
Like him? Yeah, he's cool.
So we are asking for donations towards a pileated woodpecker tail prop feeder. So if anyone would like to put donations towards that for this little fella, we would appreciate it.
And his name is Woody because he is Woody.
Yes, Woody Woodpecker. I had it right.
Yeah, well that's what kind of bird he is.
And Woody was just like it. Except without the blue.
So these woodpeckers excavate their homes in large, old, dying or dead trees. And sometimes they will excavate in utility poles. And their nest can be very deep, like they can be up to 24 inches deep and 8 to 10 inches wide. So sometimes the pole snaps after they've done that. So they've had some issues with that. They can be trained to a man-made box if you follow very specific instructions on how to build it, how big it is, and then you pack it very tightly with sawdust so they feel like they've excavated it out. We had the tiny little field mouse. It was one of my favorite little animals. Tiny little field mouse. But anyway, we have a little surprise animal, and my friend Josie is going to bring out that surprise animal.
Come on. Look at the baby.
Sweet face. Looks like it's shivering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a red-headed woodpecker that has red all the way down its neck. That is a is a red-bellied woodpecker. But sometimes birds do have some kind of a unusual.
Good job, yeah.
So our possum is a mammal, but it's also a marsupial. And we do have some interesting pictures of possum that we rehab, that Colleen rehabbed, and actually being able to look in the pouch and see they have 13 little teeth. So if 14 babies are born, well, there's 13 to crawl up there. And they stay in her pouch for I think about 30 days before they come out. And they come out a little bit at a time. And then they
They're good to have in neighborhoods. They eat ticks and stuff like that.
That's right. I need something that eats moles.
Yeah. I need something that chases off cats.
Oh.
I got cats in the neighborhood.
If one falls off, they
Feral
will make
cats?
a little teasing sound, hoping that mom will notice.
They get in the
it fell
trash
off.
cans.
But if she doesn't, she just wanders on away and she never goes back. to
Aw.
So sometimes that's how we might get a little baby possum that needs to be rehabbed. Now, this is Tulip. Tulip is a little girl. And Tulip and her brother and sister were found on a deceased possum that had been hit on the road. We often get calls and people will stop and they'll see the baby possums there or sometimes even look in their pouch and see. So Josie was going to tell you a little bit. Josie's been with me since we just got these tiny, tiny little possum babies. She's helped me raise Tulip, and she was going to tell you a little bit about that experience.
Okay, so as you guys can see, this is little Tulip. I have been with her since she was only able to drink milk from a syringe. So I've known her forever, and she's known me forever, which is why we're so close. The reason she's been an education animal, we presume, is because like you said, we're brothers and sisters, and then we just rarely kept them together because they're a social animal. You want to keep them together so they can socialize with each other. She was always kind of like the run of the litter. She was last to get everything and everything, but the other ones were successfully released, so that's really great.
She's like a permanent
She's
scared
no
look,
behind,
doesn't
but
she?
we think that's why. She's super, super sweet, and as you can see, she has these really cool little hands. She's one of them.
Front paws.
You can see here on my hand, she got these little fingers, kind of looks like ours. Those are super cute, and those help with her things, and also her tail, which is tucked underneath right now. This is cool.
So possums often get a bad rep, and people are very nervous and scared of them because they have lots of teeth. They have the most teeth of any mammal, land mammal. So they have 50 or 52 teeth. I've read both. 50 or 52 teeth. Yes. And they play dead. They play possum. They will do that. That's exactly right.
Could you imagine?
But they're actually very docile and kind of cat-like. They keep themselves very clean. They eat most anything. But one of the things that we know they eat lots of is ticks. And we even found this on social media recently. It's a picture of a deer who has come over to the possum, and the possum is eating the ticks off of the deer. So we don't know how often that happens, but we at least had this one picture taken with a wildlife camera of the possum eating the ticks off of the deer. So I say, go possum, right? What's your favorite hot dog? They're very short-lived. She's eating little Vienna sausages now. They're very short-lived. They only live 2 to 3 years, even in captivity. And in that 2 to 3 years, they age very quickly. By the time they're 3 years old, they are ancient. Kind of like maybe, but they start to lose their hearing, they lose their vision, they're very slow. So,
I need to stand up. My back is hurt.
See some of these animals up close. Please feel free to fill about the store. The animals will be wandering through as well. If you would like to make a donation towards Richmond A.W.A.R.E, you may do so at the front counter. Thank you so much, guys.